word of warning here for, where are we now, middle of June, and yes, I am standing on a freshly hoed bed, but I've got an excuse which I'll tell you about in a moment. It is the time of year when if we haven't planted all of our crops out, we are well on the way, and we are looking forward to the days when we sort of think, okay, that's it, the busy part's done now, we could just sit back and relax. Well, let me tell you, you can't. You can't, because you're a gardener, and if you have gardened at all before, however big or small, you know that once you put your crops out in the open, out for all to see, that you are going to have creatures coming from far and wide to feast on them. Now, it's not because they're bad creatures, they haven't got an evil streak, they're not being naughty, it's just what they do. So, for example, when I put my cauliflower out of the greenhouse on a table to harden off, I don't know if you can pick up over there, half of the pigeons in the neighbourhood decided they liked cauliflower too and reduced my crop by a half. Fortunately, the very lax stuff that hasn't quite been hardened off enough yet hasn't been pecked at, but what that means is I've probably still got, I don't know, 6 or 7 in there that are going to be okay to plant. But as soon as I plant them out, I am going to get them covered up. So I'm going to get on with this bed and bring you with me and show you what I'm going to do. I hope the camera's going to be able to follow me because I'm not on a gimbal, you're on a fixed tripod, so it would disappear off screen every now and then. Don't worry, I'll be coming back. This has had a I'll come this way. This has had a really good hoe about 10 minutes ago. And if you remember, a few weeks ago I did a video saying, do not be overwhelmed. Do not worry if everybody's plot looks like it's perfect and ready to go. Do yours when you are ready to plant it up. And this is now ready to be planted up. It was in a right old state. It took, I must admit, I hoed it about a week ago, and it's just had a little tickle again now, but it has had some really well rotted horse manure on over the winter, which has now crumbled down. If I show you the soil now, it's beautiful, really lovely. Can you see that? Okay, and I know I'm not just getting this ready to look like a pretty piece of soil, I'm getting this ready to plant. So in this bit here I'm going to have my cauliflowers. Now, the reason I allowed myself to stand on the soil and indeed dance on the soil is because you may or may not know that all brassicas benefit from a nice firm soil around their roots. You're really meant to do it after you've planted them, but this can't do any harm because it's just been hoed, it's quite loose anyway. So first of all, I'm going to have to see how many cauliflowers I've got. Apparently you're meant to plant them about 18 inches apart. You will know if you followed this channel at all, I have never had any luck with cauliflower, so I'm really hoping this year that I can do it right. So I've got my really high-tech stick, oh yes, which is 15 inches apart, which is already 3 inches less than they've said, but yeah, it's fine. I've got my beans along here, I've got my leeks along here, and it's really important, this is just a little tip, if you are planting a new crop, make sure that you are imagining how it would look once it's fully grown, because if I put my cauliflower here and I've got my beans here, once it's time for harvesting, I'm not going to be able to get around the cauliflower because that will have grown as well. So you need to make sure that you leave an adequate path going round. So first cauliflower, as far as I'm concerned, leeks there, beans there, give everything a bit of room. I'm going to put my first one there and we'll work it out from there on in. You know, I've just been looking around for that stick to find out my measuring stick. Of course I've put it there, haven't I? I can take that out now. Right, which one's first? I am going to put in, the Boris first, and I'm literally just going to put them, take that out now, put them in a row. I'll give it a little bit more than well, it's just magic, isn't it? Because these all did themselves because my card was too full, so it stopped filming. So yes, basically, rather than pick them all up put them all back in the seed trays and do them all again. I'll just tell you, I have now got out 9 of the Boris, which are looking very floppy, and I had 1 of the all year round, which is actually looking, the one that the pigeons didn't get actually looks okay, so I've popped that in at the end there. So yeah, all I need to do now is pop them in before the pigeons see them. Right, back again. It's not really a very nice day to be out in the garden. It's not very often that I say that. It's very windy and a little bit damp. Ah, right, okay. Oh no, I thought it was a bit of cardboard. Like I say about these beds, they've been really well manured, really well mulched. And so actually, when you consider when we took this on, the beds were just dead. There was nothing in the soil. It took us at least a year to see a worm. It sounds ridiculous, but because it's been sprayed to get rid of everything, and then the top burned, you know, it was completely arid. So here we have a little hole. You can't see it. I'm going to do the same that I do with most of my plants, which is make a hole, put a tiny few chicken pellets underneath, mix that up with a bit of soil, and then water the hole. I've done the same with my tomatoes, I've done the same with my leeks, I've done the same with my courgettes. And then what you want to do with any brassica, again, to stop the windrock, you want to be planting it slightly lower, so up to about the first leaves. And this is going to be horrible because I don't know if you can see, that is full of mud and that water has not gone down. So I'll dig a little bit further and hopefully it'll just settle itself in there without me having to get my hands in the mud. I don't mind a bit of mud. You've all seen the state of my hands before, but not on a cold, windy day. Right, okay. I'm going to say that's good enough. That is now, the earth's moving now because that's so much water underneath. Okay, well that's not going to need watering for a while. Yeah. I'm sure you can do it a lot better than I can, but again, the one thing that brassicas suffer from, as I say, is windrock, which is why you need to make sure your soil is nice and firm. So you would tread your soil before you plant, and then after you plant, I'm trying to cover that up with some dry soil now, make sure that is as firm as you can get it. Okay, I've got those in now. I've even, look at this, I'm getting good, aren't I? I've even put my label in, but I won't know what that end one is after about a week, the all year round. There we are, I've got it on camera, I can remember. What I will say, again, you want to make sure that you really firm the soil round. Now, when you've filled the hole half full of water, it can take a little bit longer, but it's worth doing. And then, because I said today in particular is one of those really dank days that the slugs love, it's not just the pigeons that you're going to have to watch out for. So I'm just going to tread around these a little bit more, and then I'll show you what I'm going to try and use to try and keep the slugs away. All I'm going to use here is some unused, I suppose I could use really, chicken bedding. I would use it if it had been used some time before, because all our old chicken bedding either goes in trenches for the beans or it goes into the compost. So it's absolutely brilliant because it's made of this miscanthus grass. And it is, not only is it brilliant for deterring slugs, but you can get them in beautiful scents. And whereas the girls usually have a lavender scented miscanthus grass for going to bed, this one's citronella, which is quite nice. And I think as well, that's also one of the scents that deters pests. So we shall see. I mean, obviously, as it gets wet, it's going to be less effective, but you know, for us, it's to hand. Obviously, you might not have chickens or horses, which is what this is originally for. But there's other sorts of stuff. I believe strulch is meant to be very good. You can try that, but you can see I'm not putting it right over the bed. I suppose I probably should. I wonder if I should. No, I'm just going to put it around the plants for now. Be more cost effective. But yeah, it's just a little bit of an extra thing. One of the other things you can do with your brassicas, especially if you've suffered the horrors of clubroot before, which is where your the root of the cabbage just is stunted, and that is something that can stay in the ground. That disease, the clubroot, can stay in the ground for quite a long time. You can lime the holes before you plant them in, and a lot of people do that. Mike does that, but I am not doing that this year because it has never made any difference to my cauliflowers. I'm just going to do it my way, and if that means that in a few months' time I'm complaining I haven't got any cauliflowers, you can shout at the screen again. What do? Do you lime your brassica patches? Let me know. Right, that's all there is to it. I might, you know what, it smells lovely as well. Now the sun's out, it's really good. What I want to do now, I'm just going to build a bit more around, is get my Savoy cabbages in. They will go behind, and I've got my summer broccoli that are going to go at the back. They need a slightly bigger space, so I'm going to get those in. I'm not going to show you me planting them all. I planted my sweet corn at the back the other day, so that bit's done. But once these brassicas are in, again, that is another bed sorted. So bear with me, I'll get that done, and I'll bring you back and show you the covers and the hoops that I'm going to use to put on them. As you can see, best laid plans and all that. This is not now my Savoy cabbages, this is my peppermint chard, because when I measured out how wide the cloches were going to be, there wasn't much room in the middle. There wasn't enough for the Savoy, so that is now going in the bed opposite, which is fine. It'll mirror the cauliflower if you like. So yeah, peppermint chard there. I have just discussed unpackaging the hoops, but I'll do it again because guess what? My microphone wasn't plugged in. It is now. So anyway, what I was saying was, if you have ever seen my polytunnel, or even Mike's polytunnel, you will know that we are huge fans of the folks at First Tunnels, because not only have their products been fantastic, but just their customer service. It's just brilliant. If you've got any problems at all, you pick up the phone and they're onto it straight away. And if you watch my Milwaukee hurry knife thing, you'll know that that's not always the case. So I'm a huge fan of customer service. So when they sent me these hoops, I was really excited because I've never seen this before. Let me just show you. They were really well packaged. In fact, it took quite a long time to unpack them, but they come like this. Okay, so you think that's only half a hoop, what's going on? But the idea is that, one, it's easier, like if it's going through the post, it's certainly easier for the delivery person to, wind's picking up now, to deliver. But also, at the end of the season, I mean, I've got a 4 foot wide cloche hoop there. That is going to be quite difficult and quite awkward to store, but all you need to do is put it in half like that. It's so much easier. I just think that is such a clever idea. And all you do, let me come over without squishing the broccoli. All you do, you've got a female part and a male part, and this feels wrong. You put them together like that, and that is really solid. They are made this exactly the same way, to the same spec as the hoops in the polytunnel, so I have got no doubt at all that these are going to stand up in a strong wind if I can get them in the soil. It's just a case, you don't need to put anything in the soil first. you should just be able to press it down. You can see that these ones are taller than the others because this broccoli should grow, should be the operative word, to about 3 foot tall. So I want to have that in nice and strong. And that, I mean, look at this one. This is the 3 foot wide cloche, and obviously that's a lot shorter. This is the 4 foot. You can also get a 5 foot one, but yeah, that feels like a really strong thing. I'm saying that's coming apart. That is a really good join, actually. That is not going to bend in the middle. Right, okay, so let's see, get down as far as I can. Of course, remember, I've flattened this soil, and put the rest in. And then I've got to admit, the next bit is one of my least favourite jobs in the garden, and that is putting the netting on. But needs must, netting must be placed, or pigeons will feast. Right, okay, so if I've got that more or less in line with that one, and just press it down, and job is a good one. Right, I'll come back to you when I'm ready for the big cover up. There